Hi guys, so I'm gonna read Marvel Premiere number 29. So this is the first appearance of a rather obscure group called the Liberty Legion, which are like kind of like the Invaders, except they're more obscure characters in that group. This is a part of an ongoing Invaders storyline. But someone wanted me to read a part of this one. I think the Liberty Legion only made two appearances, or two or three appearances, and I'm not sure if they got their own title, but there's a lot of like really obscure characters. I'm gonna read all their first appearances because I forgot to read their first appearances. So like everybody except Bucky, I haven't read their first appearance yet. Um, I have read some of the more obscure Marvel Golden Age comics, but I didn't read um, certain ones. But I'll through the coming weeks I'll get through it all. All these Golden Age Marvel heroes. But America's home front superheroes of World War II, the Liberty Legion, all new. Come on, you guys! We've got to fight the invaders! It's Cap's young ally, Bucky, leading a great new super team of 7 mighty superheroes. So yet some of these heroes only appeared even one time. They're that obscure, like they only appeared in the 1940s. They only appeared like one issue. But it's really cool. It's cool though that I think Roy Thomas wrote this one. Yeah, he wrote The Invaders and that. And he was bringing back all the Golden Age Marvel characters, which is very cool. I find is very cool. But notes on a tale begun in The Invaders number 5. The time is early 1942. So I'm gonna also sorry I'm stopping the video, but yeah, I'm also gonna read all the Invaders too. I have them all on my list. The Invaders. But 4 of the world's greatest superheroes are now fighting on the side of the Axis powers. Captain America, the original Human Torch, his kid sidekick Toro, the quasi-human Submariner, all have come under the insidious spell of the Red Skull, arch-agent of Adolf Hitler himself. But the Skull has neglected to capture Cap's young ally, Bucky Barnes. And that just may prove not to be the wisest thing he ever did. Lo, the Liberty Legion! The halls of a major network radio station in the heart of New York City are grimly still this evening. Only the staccato tread of military police, marching to and fro, break the deep silence. And then, "Stop him! Stop him! Out of my way, everybody! I've got business on the other side of that flashing red light behind you, and I'm coming through." "Who the devil? What's it matter? Who is he, McCready? The point is, the man says to stop him." "That's what we're here for, and that's just what we're gonna do." Stanley presents a brand new blockbuster of a mag by Roy Thomas, writer/editor, Don Heck, artist, Vince Coletta, inker, Petra Goldberg, colorist, John Costanza, letterer, with special thanks to Roy's old buddy Bobby Van, technical advisor and amiable archivist. Enough already. Let's get on with it. "Didn't you hear me? I said stop him! Any way you can! He's a Nazi spy, and he mustn't get through that door." "Me? A Nazi? Bucky, the boy Marvel, second-generation super-doer? An agent for Uncle Adolf? That'll be a real laugh. If I felt like laughing, which I don't. Uh-oh. He ain't going nowhere, Mr. Phillips. Whoever he is, I got him." "Hey, don't you guys read the papers? I'm Bucky. personal pal of Captain America.
That's what they all say. Look, kid, we're not gonna hurt you. Just take you into custody till... Yo!
Sorry, pal, but like the song says, I haven't got time for the waiting game. Nothing's stopping me from going through that door. Not you, not anyone. Didn't think I saw you making a grab for me, did ya? It's not like I want to do this, guys. But like I said, I got a date to keep inside with a fella called...
The Patriot! Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen of our listening audience. America's newest hero is here, as promised, with a word of interest to all Americans. And...
Yeah? Well, I want a word first, with the Patriot. Who in the name of heaven? Great stars! It looks like Captain America's young friend, Bucky. But anybody could copy his costume from the photos in the newspapers. Come on, masked man. I could say the same thing about you. Well, if you people won't believe your own eyes, then maybe the folks at home will believe their ears. And I've got a fireside chat that... Hey! Whoa there. Bucky or no Bucky, you haven't been cleared by the OWI, Office of War Information, Roy. And nobody gets on the air without... Says who, Fancy Pants? I don't know much about you, but Cap's taught me a trick or two I'm betting you haven't mastered yet. Oomph! Stunned, the studio audience can only look on in shocked silence. Not sure yet whether or not this is in the script, like the radio feuds of Crosby and Hope, Benny and Allen, even W.C. Fields and a ventriloquist dummy. But the next second, they're rather inclined to believe it isn't. All right, America, this is... Yo! Sorry, son. I can't say this is gonna hurt me more than it does you. So let's just write it off as a tie and... Hey! You're fast! Darn right I am. But never underestimate your opponent, lad, even if he is new at this job. Let me go, you second-string Captain America. You know, I'm almost inclined to think that you're the real McCoy. If I let go of you... Yeah, okay. I promise I won't lunge for the mic again.
We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, after this brief musical interlude.
I know you've heard about how Cap and the others were captured by the Red Skull, and then busted up that defense plant today, as seen in Invaders number 5, now on sale. That's why I was going on the air, to reassure the country that not all its masked men or heroes had turned Nazi. So?
There he is! Shoot him, I tell you!
But Mr. Phillips, he's just a kid.
Then take him over your knee. But get him!
All right, kid, let's go.
Hold it, soldier. I've been giving some say-so around here myself, by none other than the President himself. And I want to hear what this young man has to say. Thanks, Guy. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe you're not just an ersatz hero after all. We do our best, son. Now what's this hotshot idea that got you so steamed up?
And hurry up with it. Our audience doesn't want to listen to old records by Kay Kaiser forever.
It's this way, Patriot. I saw your picture in the papers the other day. You and a bunch of other so-called superheroes, with names like the Challenger, the Whizzer, Miss America, the Finn, the Thunderer. And tonight I thought to myself, if anybody could get together and stop the invaders long enough to bring 'em back to their senses. It'd be a legion of guys like that.
Sounds sensible enough.
I wanted to commandeer all the networks to broadcast my plea, but I was too hot-headed to go through channels.
And maybe you were right. After all, time is of the essence.
And even if your call just goes out over one network, well, Mr. Phillips, it's your station.
When you government guys let it be, you mean? Okay, anything to get some live voices on the airwaves again.
Good evening, America. This is the Patriot, as promised. But instead of my intended speech, I simply wanted to introduce a young man you've all heard of. A fella who doesn't let anything stop him from doing what he believes in. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Captain America's boy ally, Bucky. And they're all clapping. Thanks, Patriot. And hello, Americans from coast to coast. I don't need to tell any of you about the capture of Cap, along with the 2 Human Torches and the Submariner. They've been hypnotized or something by the Red Skull, the vilest ratsy to crawl out from under a rock since Adolf Schnitznickler Gruber himself. Within minutes, Bucky Barnes is winding up his impassioned plea, at least for the moment. So that's it, heroes of America. We know you're out there, fighting our enemies singly, every day. But now we need the help of any of you, all of you. I'll keep broadcasting till I get some response, every 15 minutes. This is Bucky, signing off for now. Here's a guy I wish we could reach, lad. We know him only as the Red Raven, and he's appeared very seldom in the world of men. Here's the FBI's file on him. We had it on hand so we could try to get other heroes to speak on the radio from time to time, if we could reach them. The Red Raven, huh? Never heard of him. Red Raven only made, one appearance in the Golden Age. But if this scam the Bureau gathered is true, I wish we could track him down. Code name, Red Raven. Real name, unknown. Not many years ago, one of the earliest aircraft to cross the Atlantic vanished in a dense cloud bank, never to be seen again. It is now our theory that it struck a gravity-defying island in the sky. This isle was inhabited by the remnants of a race of birdmen, who adopted the crash's sole survivor, a young boy, as one of their own. Because of his flaming red hair, they called him Red Raven. Eventually he grew into manhood, and realized he was not one of this strange winged race, requested permission to leave the Skyland. What happened next is unclear, the subject having refused to discuss it with our agents. But we do know that he now roams these United States with the use of powerful artificial wings acquired from the Birdmen. It is suggested the agency contact him at earliest possible date as potential valuable agent. This winged wonder first appeared in Red Raven Comics #1, and only 1940. Next in X-Men #44, 1968. Roy the History Major. And now, it's stranger than fiction time, nostalgia fan, as we take you some thousands of feet into the air, over the sovereign state of Pennsylvania, where a plane without lights has attracted the hawk-eyed night vision of... Oh, you already guessed, did you? With a single flap of his pliable metal wings, the man-bird alights atop the suspect aircraft, and knocks a time or two to see if anyone's at home. So wham, wham, wham.
Himmel, you see, I told you I saw a flying man. One of those goddamn American superheroes. Now he's landed on top. If he keeps banging away like that, he'll damage the plane and we'll crash. Whoever he is, he's only one man. We'll let him in, and then... Enter, whoever you are. We've nothing to hide.
Sure you don't. That's why you're flying without lights. Over a restricted area, yet.
But who are you? A federal agent?
I work alone, and my name is none of your concern. These skies are mine, and if you're Nazi spies, as I suspect, I don't want you flying around here and turning them into a battleground. Surrender peaceably, and I'll turn you both over to the authorities.
Fear not.
We too shall surrender. Though, of course, we cannot speak for Hans there, behind you.
He is ours, Herr Spiegel. Sehr gut. Now I shall kill him, so we can finish our mission before... Mein Herr! Guck!
Who's talk? Oh, another plane! Far faster than ours!
But if this winged fool worked alone, then who?
Calling unauthorized aircraft. I order you to land at once, or face the consequences. This is the Thin Man speaking. The Thin Man? If you're wondering why this version doesn't look a bit like the late great William Powell, or even Peter Lawford for that matter, then let's see what the FBI has amassed about him. Codename Thin Man. Real name Bruce Dixon, Ph.D. So far as we can determine, in early 1940, a young scientist on an American expedition to conquer Mount Kalaperthia in the Himalayas became lost in a blizzard, near death from the freezing cold. He sighted a cave which emanated an eerie glow, and found a hidden utopia deep inside. It is possible that this land inspired John Hilton's 1933 novel, Lost Horizon. Upon entering the warm clime, however, young Dixon suddenly became overpoweringly drowsy. Awaking to learn he was in a super-scientific civilization called Kalahia, whose people had the power to become ultra-thin at will, a power which he had been given to him as he slept. Later he left Kalahai with Olala, daughter of the city's chief of elders, at his side. Little more is known of him. That is, unless you own a copy of Mystic Comics number 4, 1940. Roy. Now, hold on to your vintage hats, people. 'Cause you're about to be brought up to date, 1942 style. So, trying to make a run for it, are they? Hold the stratoplane steady, Olala. I'm going below. Roger, Skipper. And, oh yes, be careful. Careful? When I'm bailing out at 5,000 feet without a chute? Why, how could I be anything else? Moments later, a gaggle of Nazis are more than moderately startled when suddenly,
Himmel, we closed the door, but someone is coming through it all the same.
Like I said, Heine, the name's the Thin Man. And it wasn't exactly an expedient exaggeration.
Ach, phew. He is so thin. My bullet missed him. I wounded Hans instead.
Listen, I could waltz around with you Willies all day long, but first, I was watching earlier when you had another unexpected visitor. And it's a fair to middling bet. He's stashed in here. Hi there, neighbor. You look like you could use a bit of rescuing.
Whoever you are, you're not wrong. I got careless. I'm new at this spy smashing game.
Aren't we all?
Just so you don't think I'm a total loser, though. Now that I'm free, I've got a few tricks up my winged sleeve.
Holy cow!
And now, my fine fascist friends, I believe we were discussing your surrender terms.
You know, I came back from virtual paradise on Earth to fight society's hoodlums. But guys like you could give Al Capone a good name.
Well, I'll be a... Did you say you've lived in alien civilization too? Funny. I was raised by a tribe of birdmen, believe it or not, before I became the Red Raven.
Well, nice to meet you, Raven. Though I wouldn't buy a yarn like that, if my own humble beginnings weren't just as far-fetched. So how come I've never heard of you?
I could ask the same of you, Mr.
Bruce Dixon, alias the Thin Man.
Put her there, pal. Well, the thing is, I wanted to live a normal life. Forget my background and these artificial wings. But I decided I didn't have the right. Not while crumbs like Hitler are running around loose.
Sounds like we've got a lot in common, Red. Hold it. Getting a message from my lady friend and co-pilot. She says Captain America's young pal, Bucky, is sending out a Mayday call from New York for all the superheroes he can gather. Well, Raven, what say?
As a guy named Bogart said the other day, Slim, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Now let's go get the pilot. While, back at the Big Apple, it's music time again, lad. Whose file are you reading now? A guy that us invaders saw a picture of the other day, Patriot. His name's the Whizzer, and Prince Namor didn't think a whole lot of him. But he and another guy called the Hurricane are the two fastest men alive. And I wish this marathon broadcast would reach at least one of them. Code name, the Whizzer. Real name, Roberts L. Frank. Recently in the African bush, noted scientist Dr. Emil Frank saw his son, Robert, bitten by a deadly cobra. Suddenly, as if from nowhere, a mongoose appeared, the swiftest, most dangerous foe of the venomous reptile. In the ensuing battle, the mongoose killed the serpent, though not without being itself wounded unto death. In desperation, and on the verge of collapse, Dr. Frank injected the mongoose's blood into his dying son's veins. The strain was too much for the older man, who died even as his son recovered, to learn that he had somehow attained the mongoose's incredible speed and vitality. Bob Frank vowed, then and there, to carry on his father's noble work in his own way, using his alter ego, the rather awkward name, Whizzer. Don't blame us for the name. People, it all happened back in USA Comics number 1, August 1941. And guess who? Awkward, did Mr. Hoover's eager beavers say? Doubtless, they'd feel differently if they could see a certain train hurtling across upstate New York toward a certain river-spanning trestle, and toward silent, cylindrical death as well. Just then, "Hey, Mac, do you see what I..." I sure do, but I still don't believe it.
It's a man running along beside us.
Beside us? Heck, he's passing us, and we're doing more than 50.
Sorry, I don't have time to stop and chit-chat, boys. But I got this tip that somebody was out to blow this trestle right about now. 'Cause there's some vital war supplies on your little choo-choo. And now, they'll reach their destination, instead of the bottom of the Hudson River.
Oh, holy smoke! Hey, wait up a minute, masked man. We wanna...
Sorry again, fellas. I hate pulling the Lone Ranger act, but that dynamite didn't hitchhike here. And there's like a text page explaining. I think Roy Thomas wrote this. So I'll read this out. So give me liberty or give me the Legion. A historical footnote by Roy Thomas. Necessity, they say, is the mother of invention. Most times she is a stern parent, but occasionally a most welcome one as well. This was one of those times. You see, when I conceived some months back the idea of a comic mag to be called The Invaders, a title which would co-star Captain America, Submariner, and the original Human Torch in World War II action against the Axis powers, I immediately realized that the very name of the group was going to present problems of sorts. The Invaders is, in our opinion anyway, a heck of a fine title for a mag. Only thing is, what do our superstars of yesteryear invade? Why, obviously nothing less than Hitler's Fortress Europe, of course. Nazi-occupied Europe, which in early 1942 stretched from the Russian front to the English Channel, where Germans stood facing Britain across a few miles of water and a whole lot of guns. Somehow, though, this seemed to me to miss a whole lot of story possibilities for one of the most interesting wartime areas of all, the United States herself. In those days of V-Mail and Victory Gardens, of Bogart and Rosie the Riveter, of rationing and the black market and the ever-present threat of Nazi saboteurs. And so, even before Giant Size Invaders #1, and only when on sale, I was already hard at work on a couple of tryout issues of a second World War II title, to be composed of some of the lesser superheroes from the timely comics of the period, which preceded the Marvel Age by a couple of decades. The name of the group came first, also by some about 20 years in fact. For, as a junior high student back in the early 50s, I had created, written, and drawn in pencil on typing paper, mostly without benefit of a ruler, a 68-page supergroup comic book I called the Liberty Legion. Ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. It was composed of such deathless characters as the Flame Man, the Tornado, the Acrobat, the Catman, and some half a dozen others, and reflected my continuing love affair with superhero groups. Footnote within a footnote. In the early 1960s, by sheer coincidence, a Texas-based trio of talented comic fans published their own Liberty Legion group in a fanzine, and I hope they don't take offense that I've staked out a claim in Marvel's name. But honest, fellas, I was there first. Anyway, once the name was chosen, the group itself began to form in my mind. Some of the choices came easy. First off, there'd be the Red Raven, who had appeared in only one story in the 1940s, but whom I had resurrected in a story I'd plotted for the X-Men several years back. The Patriot and Miss America, of course, were obvious choices to be the home front equivalents of Captain America. something sorely needed by any group calling itself the Liberty Legion. The more so since virtually every comic company in the early 40s had at least one red, white, and blue clad do-gooder. The Whizzer had been popular, too, when he and Miss America had appeared in a story I wrote for Giant Size Avengers #1. I think I read that one. I think I did. I read one of the Giants. Well, I read the first and two Invaders, and I read the Giant Size Invaders, and I read Giant Size Avengers. It could have been #2 though. It was the one where Vision and Scarlet Witch get married. I think that one, and I think Mantis was in it. It's on. You can. It's in probably one of my 1970s Marvel or the Avengers one, on my Avengers playlists. And besides, they'd been members of Timely's ill-fated all-winner squad in the late 1940s. So I figured I'd show how they had met in the first place, though they'd obviously still a few years and a couple of kisses away from connubial bliss. The Thin Man was fun too, both because of his powers and his name, obviously derived from the Dashiell Hammett detective novel and the movies based thereon. I chose Jack Frost both for his Iceman-like power and because he was one of the earliest creations of a scripter named Stan Lee, who has since gone on to bigger things and bigger names. I was wrestling with the seventh member, for I decided mystically that the Liberty Legion just had to have 7 members, and it discarded such characters as the original Vision, Defender, Falcon, Hercules, Black Widow. So I read Hercules and Black Widow's first appearances, the Golden Age ones. I haven't read the other ones. I might read the Golden Age Vision as well. I don't think I read that one yet. And others because there'd be confusion with their modern-day counterparts. Or what about the there's the Defenders group, I guess. But I don't know I can't remember that character's. Heroes such as the Finn, Father Time, the Challenger, Major Liberty, and others for a variety of reasons. And such worthies as the Blazing Skull and the original Destroyer, the Destroyer was actually Stan Lee's first creation, his first comic book creation, superhero he created, and I'll read his first appearance. Mainly, in fact solely, because like the invaders themselves, they fought mostly abroad. That doesn't mean that at any time any and all of the above might not pop up in the invaders, or some future incarnation of the Liberty Legion, of course. I burn as few bridges behind me as I can. At any rate, just then, my friend and fellow longtime comics fan, Bobby Van, no relation to movie actors or dancers, he vows, suggested an obscure entity called the Blue Diamond. I decided to use him, mostly because he added a certain element of sheer physical power which I felt the Legion could use. As to whether these 7 will be a permanent alignment in case of a regular Liberty Legion book at a later date, well, only the future itself will tell, even if I don't know. Meanwhile, we hope you've enjoyed the first several dozen pages of this tale, which began in the Invaders #5 and continues in this issue in Marvel Premiere, and that you'll follow through its action-packed climax in Invaders #6, and its ultimate frenzied conclusion in the next issue of Premiere itself. After that, well, how about bombarding us with cards, letters, and candygrams, and maybe, just maybe, the home front superheroes will live again, in still another mighty Marvel supergroup mag called the Liberty Legion. One thing's for certain, if I can't get away with using a name like that in a halcyon, Star-Spangled Days of World War II, it sure ain't likely I'll ever get the chance anywhere else. and the lice who planted it can't be far off.
Ludwig, it doesn't work. Alan, I keep telling you, my name in this country is Alan. Alan, Ludwig, I don't care what you call yourself. Let's just get out of here before that running figure I saw through my binoculars catches up with us. Don't panic, fool. With this high-speed car, we'll be far away before. Och, the Lieber! No, what's gone wrong? It sounded as if something or someone just landed on the roof of the car.
Not just anyone, rats. You can call me Miss America.
Miss America. Her record still sits, unread as yet, in the files at that New York radio station. But we privileged few can see it, even if Bucky hasn't yet. Codename Miss America. Real name Madeline Joyce. Few details are known of the strange electrical experiments recently conducted in a converted lighthouse on the eastern seaboard. But Madeline Joyce, niece of the man who financed the project, recently paid it a surprise visit, consumed by what we can only term feminine curiosity. And, during a powerful discharge caused by the violent electrical storm raging outside that night, she was bombarded by enough voltage to have killed 1,000 men. Miraculously, she survived, carried to safety by the scientist in charge, a Professor Lawson. For a full week, she lay in a coma, hovering between life and death. Then, amazingly, she recovered, and had not only gained superb vitality because of the electrical bombardment, but could also negate gravity by a sheer act of will and fly. As Miss America, she has vowed to help the war effort in any way she can. So that as seen from Marvel Mystery Comics number 49 on. Roy, who else? Matter of fact, J. Edgar, that's just what she's doing right about now.
Gott in Himmel! It cannot be! A girl! She's blocking my view! Can't see! I'm alive! But no thanks to that Scarlet Witch, whoever she was. Where are you, woman? Come out and show yourself! Are you afraid to face the vengeance of those who work for the Third Reich?
The day I'm afraid of Nazi scum like you, Fritz, is the day Uncle Adolf takes his vacations at Shangri-La.
FDR's presidential retreat, later rechristened Camp David by Ike, or Dwight Eisenhower. R.
Oh, hello there. Wouldn't want you to feel neglected either.
What the devil? Who in blazes are you, girl?
Miss America's the name. And I know you, since your pic appeared in last week's Look. If you could read as well as you run, you might have heard of... Wait, listen. Heroes of America. This is Bucky again.
Thus, a minute later, well, I'm off. If you'll take some advice, young lady, you'll play Betsy Ross and turn that silly outfit of yours back into a flag.
Look who's talking. I'll race you to Manhattan, Mr. Whizzer, just so I can watch you eat those words. Real slow.
You're on. Much as we'd like to witness this test of flight versus speed, male versus female, we must regrettably move on to a lecture being given at this moment in New York City's Museum of Natural History.
And my studies definitely suggest that mankind originated in the plains of East Africa.
Bah,
Professor Murrow's theories are all cockeyed, and if you ask me, and the way he keeps hammering away at them. All right, so he's a diamond in the rough. He's still one of the most brilliant anthropologists alive today. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I heard that remark, little lady, and you'll never know how close to home it strikes. I'm not just a maverick diamond in the rough, as you say, but a whole lot more, when I want to be, which I don't. Codename The Blue Diamond. Real name Elton T. Morrow, Ph.D. In April of 1941, subject was found, or one of two men who found a giant azure diamond in the wilds of Antarctica. The largest such stone ever known. En route back to America, their ship was torpedoed by a German U-boat. In the explosion, the priceless gem was shattered to bits, and hundreds of tiny particles of it were lodged in the nearby lifeless body of Elton Morrow, the vessel's lone survivor. For days he floated on a piece of wreckage. Then, picked up by a British destroyer, he'd recovered to make, with the aid of the ship's doctor, an amazing discovery. In some way which defies all known medical science, his body now had the hardness of diamond itself. Thus, because of his sheer mass and hardness, he can now crash through thick stone walls and stop bullets with no harm to his impregnable skin. Unfortunately, the Blue Diamond, as he has called himself, has, because of his anthropological interests, gone into voluntary retirement after only 2 forays in the spy hunting field. Said forays taking place in Daring Mystery Comics number 7 and number 8, 1941. Roy Thomas. And now, back to our regularly scheduled comic mag, as...
Everyone stay seated, or you will die.
Mass Nazis? Here? Roger, lady. And I'm betting I know why they're here. Keep calm, everybody. The police will soon be here to...
Silence! The police will do nothing, while we have so many hostages. You are a traitor to the Aryan race, to preach that the men are descended from subhuman Africans. For that, you shall die.
Had to roll with that slap, or this rat would have broken his Sieg Heiling hand. If I can fall behind this curtain. He does, and a few moments later, not sure why I kept carrying this outfit around with me, but tonight, I'm glad I did. Let's see if I can remember my tough guy lines. All right, rats, this is the payoff.
Who? Never mind who he is, just... Lieber Gott, our bullets don't harm him.
Since when did lead cut diamond, Hansel? Oh, I forgot. We haven't been properly introduced, have we? My name's the Blue Diamond. And yours is Mud.
He fights like a fiend. Flee! We can escape through the alley.
Bet you could, at that. If it wasn't so easy for me to cut you off at the pass. Cut you off at the pass? I gotta cut out those John Wayne westerns.
Himmel!
Better switch back to the Bogart type material. Okay, sweethearts, you're taking the fall. Closer, but I'm afraid a lifetime of puzzling over fossils has ill-equipped me for the striking verbal fear into the hearts of evildoers. Luckily, my diamond-hard fists can... Well now, police sirens. That means it's time for Professor Morrow to reappear. Wait, The car radio from that taxi. Did it just say what I think it did? Help is needed, if Captain America and the rest are going to be stopped. So please. And 15 minutes later, let me, kid. Your voice is shot. I can... No, I can't quit. Not when a single superhero showed up to... You've got to give us a little time, Bucky. After all, some of us came a long way. And for the others, there's always the crosstown traffic. What was that you were saying, lad? It's Miss America. I recognize some of the rest of you, too. But it doesn't matter if I ever laid eyes on you before. You're still the sweetest sight I've ever seen. 'Cause only guys with superpowers themselves have a chance at capturing my hypnotized buddies without having to kill them. I'm called Red Raven, son. And I think we all understand. Check. And we're ready to... Ugh! You'll do nothing, swine. Why, a Nazi spy, masquerading as one of the engineers. What better place to strike a blow for our glorious Führer? When I drop this bomb, I shall die, but more of America's heroes shall die with me. And I have downed the one man fast enough to have stopped me. Now, fool, prepare to die at the hands of a hero of the Reich. Heil! You should be less concerned with posterity, villain, and pay closer attention to your backside.
The bomb! It's frozen solid to my hand! Who?
I have no real name, though I've answered in recent months to that of Jack Frost. I'm told it's a legend you mortals have.
Please!
JF appeared in USA Comics number 1 to 4, Roy. The ice will melt soon enough. You've not heard of me, lad, but from my home in the frozen north, I monitor all radio broadcasts. I offer my help, though I've no great love for mortals. You sound like a certain amphibian I know. But if you're on the level, you're in. In what, son? You still haven't told us. That's good. I was afraid I missed something. It's this way, crew, if you're willing. We 8 will fight the Red Skull here on the home front, till we force him to send Cap and the rest against us. Then we'll try to capture him, for all our sakes. Sounds like worth a shot. Good. 'Cause I've even dreamed up a name for us. And from now on, the Red Skull and all his Nazi nasties had better watch out for the Liberty Legion. Yes, nostalgia buff, Bucky and company will be back in Marvel Premiere number 30. But, in between time, this team-up to end all team-ups continues with an even dozen of the greatest superstars of World War II in the pages of the 6th sensational issue of The Invaders, on sale the first week of February. Enough said. And that's the end of this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, that'd be appreciated. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys later.